This is Podcast Bootcamp Series 1, number 2, 0224, for identification. The Podcast Doctor is in. Finding your favorite podcast.
John, this is Richard Cummings. I recently saw a blurb from the Atlantic magazine listing the best podcasts of 2017. I don't know how to find podcasts. Could you advise me on that? Thank you. Bye.
A token of my appreciation is winging its way to Richard Cummings for suggesting this topic. And there's good news and bad news. The good news is that there is a podcast out there with your name on it. Everybody and his brother are in the podcast business, and some of them are really great. But here's the bad news. There's a product out there which you might be interested in, but searching by genre may produce too many podcasts, Herr Mozart. Searching Google by podcast title or name of the producer is best done on a computer. It's a little more difficult on your smartphone, but that's where you want the podcast to wind up, so your device becomes a player through your car radio. Googling by name may produce the podcast URL or hosting site, which is okay too. And any podcast producer can email you the MP3, which will play on any device. And that's the beauty of the podcast. You get to consume the content on your schedule. As a last resort, look in iTunes, Stitcher, or Podtastic. iTunes used to be Apple's music store and the App Store, but now it's strictly a directory for your music and podcasts. For the PC world, load your iCloud for Windows. It's free and Apple wants you to have it. So let's summarize. Search by podcast title or name of producer. Try a directory like iTunes, Stitcher, or Podtastic. There are others. Google a genre or podcast category as a last resort. If you would like to ask the Podcast Doctor a question, telephone my iPhone at 615-584-2717. That's 615-584-2717. Go to voicemail and leave your question. If I use your question, I'll send you a Starbucks gift card. That's 615-584-2717. Go to voicemail and leave your question. If you enjoy this podcast, please share it with 2 friends and ask them to do the same. If you would like to do something more concrete, look for the PayPal button, and for every contribution in the amount of $11.50 or greater, we will include a subscription to our monthly newsletter. Remember, you don't need the PayPal account. I have the PayPal account. Next time we meet, the role of headlines in your podcast. This has been Podcast Bootcamp Series 1, number 2, 0224 for identification.